Hi, it's Dr. Hood. I want to talk about this idea of prioritizing food priorities. Because if you want to take control of your health, if you want to lose weight, you want to get lean, you want to get fit, it's not about eating everything in moderation. It's actually about prioritizing certain foods over others. And I want to focus on one specific aspect of that. And that is, if you have a certain nutritional goal in mind, you need to prioritize certain foods over others. So, for example, if your aim is to increase your protein, because half your amino acids that make up proteins are only available from your diet, they're not available. You're not able to create them. They're called essential amino acids, so they are essentially only available from food sources. So if you want to increase your protein, if you have two options, let's use specific examples. You can get your protein from legumes like lentils, like kidney beans, broad beans, soya bean. Or you can get your protein from beef, as one example. Which one should you prioritize over the other? Because they're not equal. One type, which is the legumes, does have protein, does have most of the amino acids, but also has starch. So if you're eating loads of legumes, you're going to be eating protein, but you're going to be eating lots of starch with it as well. And starch in excess quantities isn't great because it stimulates fat-storing hormones like insulin. Now, you're not going to get fat by eating loads and loads of legumes, but again, it's all about what you eat most of the time. So what your body's exposed to on a regular basis is going to influence your health, is going to influence your weight. So you got one aspect, you got the starch. The other aspect is that the protein or the amino acids and protein in the legumes are not as easily bioavailable as that in the beef. So your body is able to digest the beef easier and able to absorb it easier and absorb the proteins easier compared to the protein in the legumes. And arguably, beef is easier to cook, instantly. Often, unless you're buying canned beans, you have to pre-soak them and so on. They're not so easy to cook. Beef is quite easy to cook, so therefore you've got a source of protein that is more nutrient dense or more bioavailable, has more bioavailable protein, and has less starch, and is easier to cook, and arguably tastier, but that's obviously subjective. Other aspect is that this source of protein, specifically beef, also has other essential macronutrients like healthy fats and micronutrients like B12, folate and iron, which are not as easily available in the legumes. Let's consider another example. Let's say your aim is to eat more good quality fiber, some micronutrients, phytonutrients and antioxidants, which are available in fruit and vegetables. Now, when you hear the term fruit and vegetables, that's actually quite wrong, because it should be, you shouldn't increase your fruit and vegetables. You should increase your vegetables and have a small amount of fruit, because they're not equal. Fruit is basically vegetables with added sugar. And they both do have some source of fiber, they do have some micronutrients, antioxidants, phytonutrients, but the fruit has more sugar in it compared to the vegetables, in particular the non-starchy vegetables like kale, spinach, broccoli, and also other nutrient-dense vegetables like mushrooms, cabbage, artichoke. Whereas if you have oranges, melon, if you have apple, there is some goodness in that, but they contain on top of that the sugar and often a lot of water. So I'm not saying you should exclude fruit in terms of priority. When you want to maximize the nutrient-dense foods when it comes to the plants that you eat in your diet, prioritize vegetables, particularly nutrient-dense, non-starchy vegetables, over fruit, and have fruit as an occasional treat. No one wants to live their life without fruit. Fruit is very tasty, very enjoyable, but it's not your best source of these nutrients. And if you think about it, if you were to take it to an extreme, if you were to increase the amount of fruit or vegetables, significantly, you'll actually cause more damage by having excess fruit to your teeth and potentially to your liver by having so much fructose and so much sugar. You won't really do the same with vegetables unless you're eating so much that you can't fit in the protein and healthy fats. But the fruit has the added sugar, which can cause harm in excess. So just consider that aspect of fruit priorities, your goals with regards to your nutrition, and if you maximize protein from animal sources, animal protein, and maximize vegetables over fruit, then you're prioritizing the right foods containing the right nutrients, and that's how you can take control of your health and your weight.